Hey there, guys. Welcome to the seminar. I think we'll give another 2 or 3 minutes to let your friends come in.
Is there some numbers now, Tharma?
Yeah, there seem to be about two people in, but I'm sure it's just started, so we'll give them a little bit, let
Yeah.
them gather up.
hmm Have you seen the Prosper statistics lately?
Oh yeah, they've been looking really good.
Yeah, but of course, there's up and down. But once you have made the session, then you can see, it's going up, and even the application is going up. I hope
Yep, yep.
more students will
Uh,
register.
yep. I mean, even registering is obviously great. That means, we can give you guys a much better overview and we can build a better product for you guys. But I guess the most
hmm
important thing that we focus on now is application. We want them to apply. We want them to be finding the jobs that they want. Making it easy for them. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
the number we really like try to hold on now. It's become a zero now, Nudge. So I think you need to
Oh,
let your
okay.
yeah
Okay, let me get on
yeah no
with
worries.
them.
Hey guys, just make yourself comfortable. We're just gonna give your friends another maybe 2 or 3 minutes to gather up, and then we'll start the show. Hi guys. The Career Basics seminar is gonna start in about a minute. I'm just gonna start you guys up with a video so you guys have a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on, and then we'll jump right into it. Hey guys, so that was the video. That's kind of an introduction to what Prosple is and what we do. Um, Before we start the seminar, I'm just gonna let Prof. Naj over here give a little introduction as to what's going on, and then we'll jump right into it.
Hello, can you hear me, Tharma?
Yep, all clear, all good.
All right. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate you. You are in your final year, and you are the senior now. And of course, I think by this semester, by the end of this semester, you'll be your convocation, and you'll be out there looking for jobs. You'll be the job seeker, and for all, I think this session is for the Faculty of FTKE, electric, and Faculty of Electric. So I would like to actually emphasize that for your last year cohort of UniMap, 93.9% of your seniors are actually on the graduate employability rate, which is very high. So what it means is that only about 6%, 6.1% out of the total graduates of UniMap last cohort or last semester or last year, that they are still looking for the job. And this statistic is taken 6 months after the graduation, meaning that within 6 months, what is the graduate employability rate? For UniMap, it is 93.9%, which is very good. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that the programs that are been introduced, that is been in UniMap, is recognized and is relevant to all the industries out there. However, that should not make you feel comfortable, because you need to be visible. You need to be out there. You don't say that because I'm UniMap. UniMap has a graduate probability of 93%, 93.9%. That you just need to just sit there and wait for people to give you a call. You need to go and be out there, market yourself, be visible, and show what you're made of. All right. So what we have with you, and of course, we would like to create a platform for all of you. We like to make it the easiest way for you out there is to get on with tools. We need to provide you with the tools, and one of them is this Prosper. All right. So Mr. Tarma, he's here with us this afternoon, and I thank you very much, Tarma, for your time and to actually share with our students the scenario or the current employment out there. What is it that they are looking for in our students? What is it, in which area are the one that they are looking for, and what are the skills that is required by our students? All right. So without further ado, again, I thank you, Prospel, and I thank you to all the students who have, created their time, make time for this session. And I would like you to, even now, I think about 45 minutes to 1 hour, Tarma will be, talking to you about this employability. So if your friends are still not, joining in, probably you can, text them, tell them that this is happening right now and it's live, and you can actually benefit from what we will the knowledge sharing session that we're going to have after this. So with that, Tarma, I think thank you so much, and I leave it all to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nudge. I'm just gonna take you off the stream if that's okay.
No
All
problem, no
right.
problem. Okay.
Hi guys, welcome to the Prosper Career Basic Seminar. Um, just a little bit of sort of introduction to who Prosper is. We are essentially, for the most part, a technology company, but what we specialize in is trying to get graduates not just into a job after university, but the best possible fit job after university. So I'm sure all of you guys are going to be looking for jobs. Some of you may have jobs lined up already. Congratulations! And for the ones that don't worry about it. Like it's a process. It happens. It takes a little bit of time sometimes, but you will always end up finding something that works for you. But what kind of Prosper specializes in is we try to get you guys into jobs that it's not just work, right? It's something that you're actually passionate about, something that fits your skill set, it's something that fits you as a person. And those are all really critical criteria because that's how you're going to prosper and build yourself not into a job but into a career, right? Something that you can build on, something that you can transfer your skills into and immediately start doing well in, or at least develop the skills very quickly because you fit in very well. So that's kind of where Prosper sits and why we exist. So more than anything, we are like a platform, and I'll show you how this all works. We've actually built a special one for all your UniMap students, but I'll get to that at the end. Before that, what this career basics workshop is about is essentially to talk to you about a few things. Um, but I guess before that, let me give you guys a little introduction about me. I'm Tarma. Tarma Wamo is my whole name, but you guys can call me Tarma. I did a Bachelor of Economics and Development Studies from SOAS in London. I'm the University Partnership Manager for SOAS in Singapore, Malaysia, and India. So I kind of manage it all around over there, work with different universities. And yeah, even, just for context, economics is far and away from what my job is right now. And I think I'm a really good example in that sense where what you end up doing and where your skills can prosper in and you can have a good time in where you see yourself fitting in isn't necessarily what your degree is, but that doesn't matter, right? Because of the former few things I laid out, you know, my fit, the skills that I have, you can find yourself in an industry that's way off from what you studied, but you could be doing well in, or you could be having a good time in it. And that's really the important part, right? So that's a little bit introduction about myself. Before we jump into anything else, just I want you guys to know that let's keep this casual. If you guys have any questions, by all means, just throw it up in the chat box. Ask me anything you want to ask. Even if I'm in the middle of talking, it's better that I answer your questions so that your burning sort of curiosities are settled rather than me just rambling on. That's half the reason I have this job. I can talk for days and months and years. So stop me at any time you feel like you need to stop me. Ask anything you want to ask. If you're confused, even if it's not something I'm talking about, but you just need to ask someone about your job, about your resume, about your career, whatever. Shoot it out there. I'll try my best to answer and give you guys as much context as I can. But yeah, let's jump into this. So what are we going to cover today? Few things. We're gonna work out what kind of job you're gonna love. We're gonna talk about the graduate landscape. People who are looking for jobs, what it's like. We're gonna talk about what employers are looking for, which is extremely important. Give you guys the essentially the lowdown as to what you should be focusing on and what you should be showcasing. We're going to talk about how to show employees you have the right skills. So it's wonderful that we know what the employees are looking for, but how do I show them that I have these skills they're looking for? And then the last few things I'm going to cover is basically how to get your foot in the door. We're going to show you how to think outside the box, looking at different career options, looking at different, sort of companies they can apply to. And at the end of all this, I'll show you guys how to use Prosple so you can do all these things. And of course, we'll have a question and answer session. But I like to believe this whole session is a question and answer session. So please, by all means, ask anything you want to ask. More than that, also, if you guys feel like I'm talking a little bit too fast or you need me to stop and repeat some things, stop me, just tell me, throw it up in the chat box. Tarma, can you please repeat this? Or Tarma, can you slow down? No problem at all. So yeah, that all being said, let's get the ball rolling. So what are we going to solve for today? What's the point about all this in the first place? It's important to be true to yourself, but also realistic. But when we talk about a job that fits you, when we talk about doing something you love, it kind of covers all these three bases. And the issue is covering any one of them or just two of them doesn't really meld in together to give you a career, something that you can build on and something that you can be proud of, something that essentially is not going to be monotonous and it's not going to bore you. So obviously we all want to do what we want to love, and what we love here, what you love is pretty subjective. And what I mean by what you love can just be something that makes you feel good. It can be something that you believe in. It can be something you're proud about. It's something that you feel like you can prosper in. There are many different criterias and reasons that fit the what you love part of this, but um, you know, what you love essentially is something that you're going to feel good doing, and that's really important, right? Because if you feel good doing something, you're going to want to get up, you're going to want to go to the office every day, or you're going to want to get up, you're going to want to log in every day and do your work and be proud of the work that you do. More than that is you want to do something that you're good at, or you want to do something that you can transfer your skills into, or you want to be in an industry where you can see yourself prospering, something, a skill set that you can develop. And that's really important because, you know, you got to feel good about it, right? You want to get those quick wins or small wins to keep you going. And the only way to do that is to be good at something, or be able to learn from it quickly so you're not demoralized. Other than that is you also, at the end of the day, any job comes with a pay and you want to be paid well. What is good pay is obviously subjective from person to person. Some of y'all may have different responsibilities. Some of y'all may have no responsibilities but to take care of yourself. So, always fight for what you feel like you deserve for. Always ask what you feel like you deserve for. Worst case scenario is you don't get it. Best case scenario is you do get it. And what happens most of the time is they kind of meet you in the middle, and then that's more than whatever you would have been offered in the first place. But yeah, any good job kind of has all three of this because, as you can see, if you do what you love and what you're good at, you're happy, but you're not really making a lot of money. And well, that's kind of pointless when it comes to working a job. If you do what pays well and what you love, now that does exist. Most of the time, you actually end up creating those jobs for yourself. But for most instances, it's kind of just is a dream unless you make it happen. You know what I mean? Um, and if you do what you're good at and you do what pays well, you're going to have a lot of money, but you're going to be bored. And trust me, you may think this isn't a problem, but in the long run, when you're working a job, when you get up every day, you got to go somewhere, it does become a problem. You want to be challenged. You want to be doing something that, you feel is, is making you excited, and you don't want to do something that's just, the same thing over and over again. You will get bored and it will get annoying in the long run. So the best case scenario is obviously all three of these things come together and we get a win. We find something that we love, we find something that we want to do, we find something that pays well, we find something that we can be good at, and there are ways to get there, right? So keep this little chart in mind as we move through this. So how are we going to find out what we love in the first place? How are we going to find out what we want to do? How do we start looking for the industries that fit with us? How do I search for jobs that are going to be good for me? It's all about self-awareness when it comes to this, right? You got to be self-aware of a few things, but more often than not, it's about making trade-offs and knowing what you want as opposed to what you don't want. When it comes to jobs, these are kind of what we've highlighted. Do you want to be comfortable versus challenged? Some people want to go to a job where they're constantly challenged. It's a new thing every day, always in the deep end, always want to be doing something new. Some people want to be comfortable. They don't like essentially the shock that comes with being challenged all the time. They want to be able to predict what's happening. They want to be able to ease into the things that they're doing. Some people like it in between, but it starts with actually sitting down and thinking for yourself, like, oh, what do I prefer? Do you want to be managed or do you want autonomy? Do you want to be able to do things independently? They just give you the task. They're like, here you go. Here's the thing that you have to do. Go and do whatever you want to do and come back to us when it's completed within whatever expected time frame. Or do you want to be managed? Do you want a manager that's constantly there all the time telling you what to do, checking up on you, making sure you're doing the work, checking on your deadlines? What's better for you? Some people like it in the middle, some people like either or, but the only way you're going to know this is if you ask yourself the question. Do you like working from an office, which I do think everyone should have the experience once. You never really know what working in an office like is until you work in an office. So I do think, by all means, give it a shot. Or do you like working from home? When I started working, it was basically no choice. Everyone had to work from home. And then I got a taste of what remote work was like. I got a taste of what it's like to work from home. And I kind of never looked back. It was something that I want to do right now. This is my home, as you guys can see. And I love being here. I love with the freedom that comes with working from home. I like being able to go anywhere I want and work from wherever I want as long as I have internet connection. Um, yeah, and some people hate that. FYI, just so you guys know, I have friends that hate working from home. They think it's extremely distracting. They think they can't get any work done. So obviously, the nature of your job probably has something to play with this. But at the end of the day, you'll know what you want when you think about these trade-offs, right? Do you want to be a specialist or a generalist? Do you want to be able to do something where kind of applicable everywhere? It's general, right? And you can jump from job to job, industry to industry because the skill set's very broad. Or do you want to specialize in something? You want to be a specialist in this. The best at this one specific thing. And it takes time, right? Both of these things aren't easy. It's not easy to develop a broad skill set. It's not easy to develop a special skill set, but you have to know what you want to do, and then you got to hone in on that. You want to be a lone wolf? You want to be a team player? Being a team player is great. I think you guys kind of know. I think amongst everything I've talked to here today, I'm pretty sure this is probably the one you guys know already. It's simple, right? Have you enjoyed all the group projects you had to work on in university? If the answer is yes, wonderful. You probably like being a team player. If the answer is no, you probably like being a lone wolf. But just to keep in mind, I don't think there's anything actually as a lone wolf job. When you work, when they say lone wolf, here basically like you do your own task, but you still have to report to someone. That you still will be within a team to some extent. But yeah, it's more like, do you want the independence of just doing your tasks and never being out, and you don't have to work with anybody else, or are you down to work with a bunch of people? Would you rather be analytical or creative? Some people love the creative work, keeps the juices going, and they love to solve those problems. But some people love being analytical. I'd say it's kind of two sides of the same coin. It's just, it's basically how you solve problems and how you solve the things that come your way. But it's what method essentially applies to you more, and what you can contribute more of and be more productive. And last but not least, do you want the financial reward? You want to get the big paycheck, or do you want to make the big social impact? Do you want to change community? Do you want to, do something every day that's changing the lives of people? Hard to find a job that kind of satiates both equally. Usually, it's more of one or the other. But at the end of the day, it's all about what you believe in and what makes you comfortable. These are just a few of the things that kind of give you a good context as to what you should be doing and what you can do. Oh, sorry about that. About what you should be thinking of when it comes to a job and what you should be looking at inwardly to yourself. The conversation you should be having with yourself before you start a job. um, we have a little free online personality test. I'll drop the link right now in the chat box, and you guys can go after this. You can do that test. You can see for yourself. It will give you more context on yourself, and that's really it. Right at the end of the day, to find a job that you're going to be good at, to find something that you're going to prosper in, it's all about knowing yourself. It's about knowing what you want, what you don't want, knowing what you love and what you don't love. These are the questions that you have to answer so that you can set yourself up into a career that's gonna that you can build on essentially, right? And you can be in the long run and you can prosper in. Now, let's get into the meat of this. Let's set the scene. Let's talk about the graduate landscape for a second. Let me show you a few charts to give you a bit of context. As we can see, the percentage of 15 and 64-year-olds in Australia. This is Australia, but I promise you it's everywhere around the world. It's not just Australia. It's definitely Asia. That have a bachelor degree level or above. So your PhD or master's. And we can see since the 1990s, this has been steadily increasing up and up and up and up. In the year 2000, we're hovering above that 30% line. In Malaysia, I'm pretty sure it's above that 40% line because it's pretty much streamlined. The pipeline is there from going to uni and having to do your degree. So as we can see, because this is increasing year on year on year, the people that go into the graduate market and apply for jobs with you also have degrees. So back then, way back when, in your parents' time, not everybody did go to university. It wasn't really a thing. And you know when you got with that degree, when you came to the market, extremely competitive in terms of like you being the standout guy. But now having the degree is just one piece of the puzzle. Because more and more people also go to university and come up with that degree, that master's, that PhD. So you're competing with a higher caliber of student. And more than just having a degree, what we can also see is that the percentage of A grades awarded at US colleges for 4-year courses is also been increasing. And this applies to all around the world as well. We can see since 1970s, it's more and more and more graduates are leaving these universities, not just with degrees in their hands, but with A grades awarded to them with those degrees. So you're not just dealing with more graduates, you're dealing with more higher caliber graduates that excelled in their courses. So that's really something to keep in mind, in terms of like how special does me having a degree make me to the rest of the market. You know what I mean? Moreover, when we look at every job, surveying 105 top leading Australian employers, what we can see is that on general, in general, it's 42 applicants per graduate position. Obviously, some jobs have way less than 40, but some jobs have way more than 40. I've seen jobs that have 200 or 300 applicants per job, and usually one or two people max get an opening from that. So, in terms of competition, it's as high as it's ever been. And at any given time, you are at least competing with 41 other people for any position that you apply for. So, how do you stick up? How do you stand out amongst these other 41 candidates? How do you make yourself different? And how do you essentially give yourself the best shot possible to grab the opportunity that's in front of you? It's essentially this. Let's talk about this, right? What are employers looking for? Because regardless of having a degree or whatever, if you can show employers that you have the skills that they are looking for, you can get any job that you want to get. You can find yourself in the industry that you want to find yourself in. So that is something like being a doctor. But yeah, what are employers looking for? Let's talk about this. Let's give you guys the context so you know what to work on and you know what to highlight when it comes to interviews or in your CV, etc. The first and most important skill is communication. That is the single most important skill, guys. 87% of employers assess this skill and say it's extremely important. 13% assess it and say it's quite important, but absolutely everybody is testing you on communication. They want to see how well you communicate. They want to see, can you get the message clear? Are you good at talking to a team? Can you present your ideas? Are you confident when you're speaking to people that are in a higher position than you? Can you defend the things that you are saying? Are you just saying things for the sake of saying it? Do you have the context? These are all really important skills that you should hold on to, and really something that you should take the time to remember and take the time to showcase in any interview. Be confident, present your ideas with confidence. uh, be a good communicator, and by that I mean, don't just say things, like have the context so that the person that's in front of you, that is talking to you for the first time, understands everything that you're saying, understands the ideas that you're presenting. Other than that, the next thing is teamwork. 83% assess it, say it's really important. 40% say it's quite important. 3% say it's not that important. But again, this is a skill that everybody's testing for. Can you work in a team well? Are you a team player? If you're given teammates that, don't really fit the bill, can you make it work either way? Can you get the job done in the scenario working with these other players? Sometimes you may not work in a team with your colleagues, but you may have to go to another job and you have to work in a team with them to get whatever deliverable done. So at any given time, you still do work as a team. And like I said, even if you're doing a lone wolf job, you still report to a manager, you're still a team. There's still two of you guys. So always important to at least be able to, know the dynamics and fit yourself into any team so that, you can get whatever you need to get done. The next skill is interpersonal skills. 73% of people assess it, say it's really important. 25% say it's quite important. 2% say it's not that important. But again, this is a skill that everybody's testing for. How well do you essentially present yourself, speak to other people, handle yourself in these, situations in the office, etc. What are your interpersonal skills? Do you have what it takes to, be a nice person to be around, and present yourself in a meaningful and pleasant way? Something that you should always keep in mind. And all these skills, as you can see, is something that you can work on at any given time, at any given place, at any moment in your life. You don't have to do something very specific. It's very general things, but every employer is looking for it. Other than that, we also have resilience. And this is when we start seeing the 10% of people not being assessed. 2% say it's not very important, 39% say it's quite important, 49% say it's extremely important, but it's a skill that's being tested. And your resilience is essentially this, right? If I give you a task and you don't know what it is, or how to do it, are you then going to, power through it? If you find it difficult or tough, are you going to go find whatever you need to find, do whatever you need to do, ask whatever you need to ask so that you can get the job done? and meet the deadline, etc. That's resilience, and that's a really important skill to have in life, not just in work, guys. Let's just breeze through the rest of this. Understanding the organization. 30% say it's really important, 51 say it's quite important, 16 say it's not that important, 3% say they don't even assess it. But this is really something that's going to help you stick out in any interview that you're doing, right? Understand the organization, you have the the skills, and the know-how to see what they're doing and know how to contribute, and see where they're struggling, and you're not afraid to talk about these things. You have a deep and meaningful understanding of what the company that you're applying for is doing. That's going to help you stick out as a candidate. Self-management, if I give you something, how do you manage it amongst yourself? How do you carry yourself? How do you get these things done? If you have a bunch of things to do, how are you going to prioritize those things? Based on what has to be delivered first, which deadlines are coming in first, what projects are important to the company and what's not important. A skill, again, that most people test, only 11 people don't really assess it. Everyone else kind of testing it across the board. Initiative and enterprise, essentially an extension of resilience. If something comes your way, are you going to take the full extent of your effort to go and do this, complete it, and make sure it's done in the proper way? And if something isn't given your way, but you see that you can do it, you can contribute, are you then going to take the initiative to do it, to contribute? Something that's really going to help you stick out as well. Emotional intelligence, EQ, guys, essentially the emotional version of IQ. Do you know when it's the right time to say things? Can you read the room? Do you know when it's right to talk about certain things when you're with clients, or when you're presenting? Do you know when to bring up specific things, when to keep certain things in your pocket? Emotional intelligence is extremely important, and just sort of like resilience, it's another skill that's going to help you in life in general. And it's going to help you be a better friend. It's going to help you be a better colleague. It's going to help you be a better boss when you're eventually like running your own company or running your own team. Something you should always keep in mind. Are you planned and are you organized? You know, Everyone has their own different version of what being planned and organized is, and I think that's something I really like to emphasize. I don't think there's a cookie cutter method to what being planned is. Some people may say like, oh, you have a timetable, or oh, you set things up, you write it down, and you do it. I don't think that's how life works. I think everybody has their own special little way of being organized and planned. But as long as you're meeting your deadlines, as long as the work that you're doing is getting done, and as long as when you're not around, other people can come in and look at your work, and do it when you're not there in case they have to, you're golden. And that's all you need to know, right? And that's the most important thing. Leadership, something that you know I say this is more important so companies can know how exactly to promote you within the company. Some people don't actually want to be leaders. They don't want to take care of their own teams. They just kind of want to be within the job and do their job really well, so we can promote you in that direction. But if you do show a knack for leadership and you have the leadership capability, then obviously a whole other host of opportunities open up for you as well, and it's something you should keep in mind. Are you commercially aware? An extension of understanding the organization. Do you know what competitors are doing? Do you know how to relate your company to the competitors? What your company has more of, and what competitors have more of? What's the big differentiating factor that's going to help you guys excel and compete? Do you understand that? So are you commercially aware of what's going on? Are you technologically savvy? A skill that I say most of you guys don't have to worry. You're kind of young. You're kind of born around technology, but it's something that's being tested. And it's something that's going to help you stand out as well. Are you good at Excel? Can you code? Are you good at PowerPoint? Can you design? Are you even good at Google searching? Something people may take for granted, but if you can Google search well, you can kind of do anything you want on the internet. So be technologically savvy. Take the time to go and learn these things. Relevant work experience. I'm sure plenty of you guys have talked about, oh, I need to go do this internship. I need to have the relevant work experience if I do something. As you can see, only 8% of employers say it's very important. 40% assess it and say it's quite important, but the rest, 37, 15%, say it's not that important, or they don't even assess it at all. They don't care about your relevant work experience. They just want to see you as a candidate. So if you can show them you have all these other skills, this is kind of falling quite beneath it, and it's not something you really have to care about. But you got to make sure you take the time to show that you have all these other things and you develop these things, take the initiative to do it. And the last thing that's being tested, university grades. So, like we said, right, more people are graduating with those degrees, and more people are graduating with those degrees that have A's in them. Only 11% of employers say it's very important. 36% say it's not that important. 31% say it's not very important, and 22% don't even assess it. So that's half of employers right now that are not even assessing university grades. But having a degree obviously shows them that you kind of have all these other skills, because you would have taken the time, initiative to go and complete your degree, do well in those 4 years. So there are merits and demerits, obviously. But I think one thing that is one thing that we're just showing this for is so that you guys know it's not the end of the world. Let's just say if you didn't do as well as you wanted to do, apply for the job that you want. Go and throw your CV and make sure you're seen, make sure you're heard. Maybe make sure you give yourself a shot so that you can do the things that you want to do, and know that you can be confident because only 11% of them say it's really important. Everyone else kind of like, yeah, we can look past it if you have all the other things, if you have the fit. And that's really important to know. It's really important to keep in mind. Now that we've talked about what employers are looking for, if I show you guys these two graphs, I'm sure it's not that scary for y'all anymore. Kind of like, okay, well, as long as I can show them that I have all these other skills, I'm a good communicator, I work well in teams, I have good interpersonal skills, I'm resilient, I understand the organization that I'm working for, I am self-managed, I have the initiative to do the things that come my way to the best of my ability, I have the emotional intelligence to make sure I'm saying the right things when they have to be said, I am planned so that I can contribute, I'm commercially aware, I'm technologically savvy. Bam, these things don't matter. You're already a great candidate. You're already a standout candidate that can contribute a hell of a lot to any organization you go to. So that's something you got to keep in mind. So now that we know what they're looking for, what are the things that they say sort of graduates are missing the most? When they interview you guys at any given job interview, what are recruiters saying the skills that they see graduates tend to lack the most? One is obviously an understanding of the organization. Uh, as you can see, a lot of graduates kind of get the job interview, go in thinking, like, I pretty much got this. They don't do the homework, and that's really important, right? Being commercially aware and understanding of organizations can be the top two skills that graduates lack. So, if you're taking the initiative, if you're taking the time to go out there, learn these, do your homework and learn what's important, you're already a standout candidate when it comes to any of these things. Relevant work experience is next. Again, only 15% say they like it because, as you can see from the trend there, not a lot of them are even assessing it in the first place. Communication skills. So lots of graduates seem to be able to show that they have the communication skills, but they're still lacking. Being resilient, being able to, take what comes and deliver when it has to be delivered. Being emotionally intelligent, leadership. These are skills that they say sort of lacking, and I say I kind of group them together. Develop any one of these skills, and if you're resilient and you have a high emotional intelligence, you're going to be a great leader. So it kind of plays into each other. Initiative and enterprise. We see graduates are kind of lacking the initiative, so they may be great candidates, but they're just doing the things that are told to them. They're not going to do more of what has to be done. Interpersonal skills, talking amongst each other, carrying yourself, being self-managed. So essentially, can you govern yourself, right? If I give you a task and I leave you alone, do you have the ability to manage yourself through the task? And if you have many tasks, can you manage yourself through all those tasks without essentially being micromanaged? And that's something we see graduates seem to be lacking. Technologically savvy. So even though I'm confident you guys are technologically savvy, maybe a lot of other graduates out there right now aren't, they're not really taking the time to learn this technology and learn these things that you have to do so that you can jump into the job. Being planned and organized, teamwork is only 4% that say really apply. Other than that, it's more just other skills. So with any company, obviously they have specific things that they are looking for. So any one of these other skills that they feel is relevant, it's what's lacking. But as you can see, the sticker as a candidate, if you really can just focus on these first six skills over here, you're already going to stand out and be a great candidate in any interview. Make sure you walk in and you've done your homework so you understand the organization. You're commercially aware of what's going on within the industry of any company you're applying for. If you have relevant work experience, that's great. But also know that when I say relevant work experience here, it can really be anything, right? It's not really like, oh, you're an engineer and you want to go into an engineering firm and you have to have been an engineer before. That's impossible. You've been in university this whole time, right? But showing that you have work experience, you can work in a team, you've done something part time, maybe you freelance, maybe you've interns. These are all things that you should showcase. Being a good communicator, being resilient, and having a high emotional IQ. These are all things that are going to make you a lovely colleague to work with, and that's really how you stand out in an interview and in a job. So how do we show the employers that we have all these skills that we are talking about? What do we have to do to demonstrate these skills? Number one, we can take on a leadership role within a college, student society, or sporting team. If you have already, great job. If you haven't, don't worry about it. There are tons of societies and sporting teams that you can join outside of university that are there for like adults to join after work and stuff. So many opportunities to do this. Don't think that your time is up. Casual work, temporary gigs, freelancing. These are all ways for you to showcase, that you have these skills, contributing to university club and society. So not being a leader, but just contributing, participating, another great way. Take a study abroad semester if you have the opportunity. And don't worry, even if you don't have the opportunity now, there are tons of study abroad opportunities for postgrad students, stuff like Chevron Scholarship, where you can apply with work experience. And if you're a good candidate, you can go to your degree overseas, fully paid for. They bring it back. And the only criteria is you got to come back here and you got to work here. So they bring you back. I'm sure you guys have no problem with that. Take on a role in a sporting organization or team. So yeah, like I said, stuff out of university. Go and join something like Rotaract. Go and join a sporting team outside of university, like Cobras in KL. Go play rugby. Go do whatever you want. It just shows that you have the ability to do all these things, right? That you can be part of a team. That you can be a leader. That you're resilient. Have a unique hobby and interest. People may take your hobbies for granted. They may think like, oh, it's just a hobby. But being interested, diving deep, and specializing in something that you love in, that's a great way of showcasing all these skills. So don't take any hobby that you have for granted. Actually take the time to do well in it. And it can be something as simple as playing football, or something as complicated as you know painting or drawing. But as long as you're passionate about something, and you do it to its fullest extent to your ability, that's a wonderful way of showcasing all these skills. Volunteer and fundraise, go help a charity, go see what's around you. It shows that you care, and also again, it's a great way of showcasing these skills. Go launch a small business, and it doesn't matter whether it succeeds or fails. But launching a business idea, thinking of something and then putting it in the works and seeing whether it works out. That's an extremely great way of showcasing you have all these skills, and an extremely great way to build these skills if you want to have the opportunity to do that. Take a short course to gain a micro credential. Go to one of those courses on LinkedIn. You can go to edX or Coursera. If you can't pay for it, you can always go to this option called audit the course, and you can do it for free. And the only thing is you don't get a certificate at the end, but you can still say you've done the course. And that's really the most important thing that matters. Take an opportunity to practice public speaking, join Toastmasters, collaborate, attend meetups, go to community projects. I can tell you the best thing that I ever did was join debate. Being able to speak openly, present my ideas, be confident in the way that I speak has helped me in so many different ways in my life that I can't even like list it out. It's just uncountable the amount of times it's come in my favor, and it's helped me more often than not. And just because I'm and just speaking like being good at speaking didn't just help me be a good speaker. It's helped me write better essays. It's helped me present my ideas better. You know, it's made me a valuable asset in teams that I mean. It's gotten me jobs. You know, so it's definitely a skill that you should take very seriously and you should hone on in. Take responsibility and show initiative. That's the main takeaway from all this. As long as you take responsibility and show initiative, in the things that you're doing, you're golden. Take the time to be and develop yourself into an interesting person with a depth of character. Don't just be one dimensional. Go into other things. Go and explore other things. Go talk to different people. Go join societies. You know, just put yourself out there essentially, and you're going to be a great person to work with. And last but not least, I guess you want to pass the airport test. And if I'm sitting down with you at the airport, I don't know who you are you interesting enough that I'm going to want to keep sitting down next to you and talk to you and have a chat with you? That's really the most important things from all this, right? If you can develop yourself into an interesting person that has a good character, most jobs you're at least going to get the second or third interview, and that means you're giving yourself a shot to get the things that you want. And that's really the most important thing to take away from all of this. So now that we've talked about all these skills, we've talked about how you can develop these skills, how do you showcase these skills, how do you bring it all together? Give me 1 second, guys. Throat gets dry. But yeah, how do we bring this all together? So what does a strong CV look like when you submit it in? uh 10%, obviously have your name big and bold, where you're from, have your contact details up there on the top so they can they can contact you easily, and it's easy to find your contact details. I don't think anyone needs to have a photo. Not really a massive thing for me. So, and I think a lot of people that I've talked to, recruiters, say that they also don't really care for the photo. Short summary: who you are, what you're doing, what you're passionate about, 2 3 sentences, just get it out there. 10% of your CV is what you're studying. On my CV, just for example, guys, it's just where I went to university. I don't even talk about high school. Relevant coursework, what my results were, how long I was in university for, where I went to uni, done. And everything else is essentially experience and other skills. What have you done? Where have you interned? Where did you work part time? Where have you freelanced? Have you started any business? What are your hobbies? What are the sports teams you play? What languages do you speak? What skills do you have? Have you won any awards? Have you been in any leadership committees? And this can be from high school or whatever, but throw it all in there. Were you a prefect? Were you a quartermaster? These are all really important things that you want to showcase in your CV, because it shows that you have all these other skills. You've done all these other things outside of your education. Going to school is so much more than just getting an education. It's all these other things. And if you can show that you've done these things meaningfully, and that's what most of your CV should be, that's what's going to give you the edge over all these other candidates that are throwing their CV in. And it's this long about what university they went to and what they studied. It's this much about relevant things, other skills, experiences. You stick it as a candidate because you have done all these other things. You stick it as a candidate because you put yourself out there before. That's how you give yourself the edge over everybody else. So remember this, take a little snapshot. When we're done with this, we'll upload it to YouTube so you guys can come back. You can see all the relevant things, and you can model your CV out of this. But yeah, this is the main thing, and I really want to emphasize this. Any CV you make, it should basically be this: just a bit about your education, a bit about who you are, and just everything else that you've done, so that you can really show that this is how you stand out. This is what makes me different, and these are the things that I'm passionate about, and the things that I care about, and these are the things that I put my time in to develop outside of just the things that I have to do. These are the things that I wanted to do, and I care about these things. Timeline wise, not really set in stone, but just generally. So let's just say you start your graduate job in January next year. The graduate applications close in Malaysia. Actually, so this is actually based in Australia, but the Malaysian timeline, I'd say they pretty much close in September-ish. So you have a little bit of time. So get your CVs ready. If you want to do any summer internship, it's starting it'll be after your final exams. So most summer internships in Malaysia run from about end of July to end of August, beginning of September-ish. So that's your timeline. So you can apply for your summer internships basically now. You can start putting your internships in. You probably have a few more weeks to apply for any of these internships. So you want to get your strong CV done as soon as possible. Write it down. Start drafting it today. Go show it to your lecturers, show it to your teachers, show it to your parents, show it to your friends. Your first draft's going to be your worst draft. That's totally okay. No one's first draft is perfect. But the important thing is you start the process and you start showing people so you can get advice, and you can meld it into a strong CV as soon as possible. First and second year, essentially laying the foundation. I'd say even now you have plenty of time to lay the foundation until your graduation, your final exams. Go and do the things you want to do. Go and develop a hobby. Go and do whatever you want to. All the things that we talked about. You have all this time now to do it until you start doing your CV. If you feel like you want to do your exams, then start developing these skills, and you essentially like push this timeline forward, do it. It's fine. Like everyone's on their own time. Everybody has their own little path. That's something I really want to emphasize here. Don't spend your time comparing yourself to your friends. Don't be like, oh, they have a job or they have an internship or they have done their CV and they've applied to all these things. Don't do that. It's just going to make you feel bad. Everybody's on their own path. Everybody's set to do their own things, at your own time. So just focus on you, focus on the things that you want to do, focus on your goals, focus on the things that you like, and just start building it within a timeline that works for you, something that you're comfortable doing. And that's what's going to help, give you the best shot at doing whatever you want to do. So, all that being said, we've talked about all the skills, we've talked about, the timeline, etc. How do we find our first graduate job, guys? How do you find the first employers? Now, statistically, the breakdown's kind of like this. Most people get their find their first employer mainly through networking. 46% of graduates find their first employer through their network, talking to other people. 29% use job advertisements, so what's on the newspaper, what's on LinkedIn, what's coming to you on Instagram. 12% use their career centers. They go to Prof Nudge, etc. At the career center. You tell them, oh, I'm looking for a job. Can you pass my CV to your um, industry partners and see what they have to say? And 30% is others, so it can really come from any other place. But based on this breakdown, how do we use our network to find a graduate job? One obviously is you can directly go to these employers. You can find employers that you like. You can Google graduate employers. You can start just writing to these employers one by one, emailing them. Other than that, it's obviously friends and family. You can ask your parents, you can ask your friends' parents, you can ask your friends, see what they have to say, give you recommendations, see if they can pass your CV to anyone. You have your work contacts and your work network. So, if you guys have worked at any job before this, by all means, you can ask the people that you worked it, who they know, who they can help you with, help you to get to know. Obviously, you have your college, your faculty members, your lecturers. So, anyone within your university you feel like they can help you. You have your career fairs and information sessions. So, good job attending something like this today. It's going to give you more insight. It's going to give you more network. It's going to give you a chance to see what the world is like and, give yourself the best shot. But that being all said, what strategies can we use to network? Obviously, one is you can attend stuff like this. So good job. We've covered that. Number two is ask for introductions. Go search for alumni. Go to LinkedIn. You can put in the alumni of university. You can see everyone that studied here. You can write to them. You can be like, hi, I am Sophia from UniMap, and I'd like to, ask someone that's been here before, what was your process like? Who did you apply to? That's a great way to do it. And like I said, use something like LinkedIn. A lot of people, a lot of students especially, only use LinkedIn or start making a LinkedIn at the end of university or when they start their job. I say just open your LinkedIn now, start getting it ready, throw everything you want to throw up there. It's the best, networking tool right now, especially during the pandemic when you can't really meet people, but just in general, because a lot of these recruiters and stuff just chill on LinkedIn all the time. They're there all the time. A lot of jobs for mainly higher positions get posted on LinkedIn, but the recruiters are there. So as long as you have a presence, that's wonderful. Cold call or cold email, you can call the reception, you can call the line of any office, you can ask for what it's like to work there, you can send in a cold email, see what they have to say. You can walk in, very direct, definitely a great way to be remembered. Not a lot of people do this. If it's nearby, why not? Just walk in, see what they have to say. And of course, we have the organic way to build your network, which is, you can take on a leadership role. You probably have to like know people and meet people because of that. You can work casually and do temporary gigs and freelance. Great way to build network. Contribute to university clubs and societies. Again, kind of like the first thing, you would have been put out in different scenarios where you had to contribute. So it would have given you a way to build that network. But all in all, at the end of the day, it's just about putting yourself out there and it's just about asking, not being afraid to ask, not being afraid to seek. And that's what's going to give you the best shot of building your network so that you can find yourself a good job. Now, let's think out of the box for a second. We talked about all these, jobs that all these employees, all these people are applying for. What really happens? What's the breakdown like? 80% of applications are only going to 20% of employees. So your Shells, your Petronas, all that jazz, they are getting 80% of the applications that come their way. The rest are only getting 20% of the applications spread over 80% of the employers. And that's really important to keep in mind here now, right? So all these big companies are being bombarded for their graduate jobs. All these other companies have graduate jobs as well, but they're not getting the applications. So it's probably a really interesting way to think about how to get a job and what type of companies you should be looking at to give yourself the best shot, you know? The big difference between a large employer and a small employer is pretty simple, guys. We'll break it down in three ways: training, career progression, and exposure. If you train at a large company, it's usually very structured, it's usually very generic, it's very large learning outcomes because it's usually a big group and just like whatever, as long as they can cover all the bases, you kind of get it. That's all that matters. You go to a small company, it's going to be very one-on-one, it's going to be very hands-on, it's going to be very tailored to what you need so that you can excel there, and that's already going to give you an advantage. More in terms of career progression, with big companies, it's a structured hierarchy. It's mainly like how long you've been there. That's what's going to give you the career progression, not so much about the work that you're doing. But in smaller companies, as long as you're doing well, you're going to get a promotion because they need good people there. I know people that have worked in SMEs and, they've gotten promotions in 3 months, 6 months, they got them pay raises, they got them whatever. And yeah, maybe a smaller company, maybe a lot of people don't know about them, but small companies still make money. Small companies still do well. And they've learned more. They're higher in terms of their jobs, in terms of position, and their next job opportunity will be much higher in the same amount of time. If you're, what jobs they can get after this are going to be much higher position, much better pay compared to if they spend the same amount of time at a big company. In terms of exposure and experience, obviously you get exposed to large projects in big companies, but it's not always the case, and your exposure is obviously very limited to your department. You only really get to do what you have to do. But if you work at a smaller company, it's usually big. You're probably like from the outside looking in, you can see everything, it's 360-degree view of the entire company, every project that you're in. You get to talk to senior leadership. It's going to give you the best exposure in terms of an experience in the short term and quickly compared to anything else. So the summary here is simple. If you're in a big company, you're a small cog in a big machine. And if you're in a big company, you're a small cog in a big machine. And if you're in a small company, you're just thrown in the deep end. Now, different people like different things, and some people prosper in different environments. So you should always give both a shot. By the end of the day, this kind of the general sort of summary of what it's like to be in these things. And you know, you should. It's always good to maybe start small and then work your way big. Or if you want to work big and then start and then you move somewhere small and specialized, that's perfect. That's fine. but it's all about just knowing what it's like to be in these situations and giving yourself the best shot. How do we find these smaller employers? So, we talked about how good they are and how little applications they're getting. Obviously, again, network always helps. Friends and families, work contracts, work contacts, talking to your lecturers, etc. They don't really advertise as much. They don't really go to career fairs as much because they're small, limited budget. Uh, so networks really probably the best way. There's also LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great because you can filter by number of employees. Most employees will put, oh, we have 10 employees, we have 25 employees, and LinkedIn can just show you companies that have that many amount of employees, so you can find a small one straight away. And of course, you can just you know search based on location. Something like Google Maps, you can see what's around you, based on location, and that's going to give you a good idea. And what we have to know is this: small company, big company, the last thing that you have to keep in mind is, maybe you can't find something that's directly related to what you have to do, but it's fine. You should always think out of the box. 26% of employees are hiring from all areas of study. So they don't care what you're studying, they just care about who you are. 15% hire from six plus area of study, so six different types of degree specializations, and they hire even though the job may be for one out of the six. 34% hire from 2 to 5, and only 25%, one fourth of total employers only hire from one area of study. And these are obviously like your, becoming a doctor, becoming a nurse kind of situations. So as long as you think out of the box and you don't silo yourself, you don't, put yourself in a tunnel where, oh, I can only work here, I can only do this, you're going to have a lot of opportunity and a lot of things to do. And it's just about being able to find it. And right before we move into anything else, just let's summarize it. Take the time to think deeply about your career. Take the time to think deeply about the things that you have to do and you want to pursue. Talk to friends, talk to family, do stuff like an online personality test, because at the end of the day, you have to know yourself. Only if you know yourself will you actually have the best shot of finding something that you like. Get involved in extracurricular activities, be it at school, be it outside of school. Just go and do it. It's the best way to build a network. It's the best way to demonstrate you have all these skills that we talked about. Draft your CV. Start drafting your CV at any point in your life, at any given moment. Start drafting it, because only when you start drafting it, um, can you actually, um, you know, build it up over time. Like I said, the first draft is usually the worst draft. So start now, start asking people for their opinion on it and start building it up. Make a LinkedIn profile. Again, best way to network. Start building a LinkedIn profile. It's the best way to start networking. And if you're not sure about it, go talk to your career center. They'll have lots of advice on what you should put in your LinkedIn profile, how you should build it, and apply for internships. You can do this at any year that you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in first year or third year. Just apply for internships. And if we here at Prosper, we like to say it's a try before you buy. You know, go work, go see what it's like to be in this place. And if you like it, apply. And a lot of companies in Malaysia have a nice little pipeline where you go work as an intern and you do really well, they'll probably offer you a job automatically. So these are your next steps. These are the things that you definitely should be doing and definitely should be keeping in mind when it comes to looking for a job. Remember the small employers. Remember that you can apply for jobs that are outside the things that you're studying for. And know yourself, because knowing yourself is going to give you the best shot of finding the things that are important for you and that you can excel in. Now, before I move into questions, what I really want to show you guys is this is the UniMap careers directory that we've built up for you. So if you go to unimap.prosple.com, the link's been going on. It's at the bottom down there. So if you go down here, if you search for UniMap Prosple, I'm pretty sure there's a link somewhere on one of the UniMap pages. I'll get Prof. Nash to send it to you guys. You can come here, you can apply for any job that you want. So we do all the hard work of finding all the graduate jobs for you. So it's not like LinkedIn or JobStreet where you have to look for, oh, I want a graduate job, oh, I have to know what company I want to work for. No problem at all. All you do on Possible is you come to the page, make an account if you want to. If you don't want to make an account, it's no worries. But if you make an account, we'll also start recommending jobs that we think are good for you. So that's easy. It's gonna make your life easier. But all you have to do is this. You just got to put in your opportunity type here. So let's say you're looking for a graduate job, you're in your third year, and then you just got to tell me what you're studying. So you guys are engineers, you're looking for a job in engineering, you just click the search button, and it's going to fetch all the results for you guys, easy peasy. And let me just open that up, keep that for you guys. But yeah, so it's going to show you guys all the jobs here for engineers. Right now, there's 757. This number changes every day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Shows you all the jobs you can do as an engineer that you can apply for. If you have a specific type of engineering that you're doing, be it civil or electrical, whatever, you can click that here and you can find it. And you can go in and you can apply for jobs specifically based on what you want. As you can see, you have 95 pages. But let's say you don't want to do a job in engineering. You can see this, I prefer these sectors, and then you can just sort of click like maybe you guys want to be in banking, and all the banking jobs that hire engineers, bam, they're going to come up for you guys right here. And it's not just uh, you know jobs in Malaysia. Obviously, these are just banking jobs, but it's jobs from all these countries. So if you guys feel like, oh, I want to apply for international jobs, I want to know where to look, we do all that for you guys. We have partners everywhere, so you can just go in, jump in, apply. You can see, what you like, what you maybe want to work in government. You can click two things, and we'll filter it all up for you guys. Easy peasy. We make this as easy as possible for you guys. We try to give you as many options as you can, and you can apply for as many jobs as you want. There's no limit. The best piece of advice I can give you as someone that was a graduate and was applying for jobs is apply. Apply for as many jobs as you want. Apply for as many jobs as you can, because the more that you're out there, the higher likelihood you have of getting a job that you want, that you're going to excel in, that you're going to love. And going into many interviews is great. Maybe you don't get the job for 10 interviews if you go for like, 11, and you may only get one. But every single job interview is going to make you better for the next interview. And by the time you get an interview for a job that you really love, that you want, you're going to nail it because you have all this experience. You're not nervous anymore. The first interview, just like your first draft of CV, is going to be the worst interview, but it's fine. Give yourself the most shots at, getting the experience or building yourself up, learning about these, interview processes, the tests that you have to make, etc. And it's going to make you a strong candidate. So apply for as many jobs as you can. Apply for as many jobs as you want to. Don't let anything stop you, be it work experience or anything. Just go out there and apply as long as you're comfortable. But yeah, so that's essentially possible. When you go to any page, we try our best to give you stuff like reviews and day in the life, so you can see what it's like to work in these companies. Reviews are the reviews of the graduates that are currently working in these companies. They're giving you, their idea of, what it's like to be there, to tell you the pros and the cons. And we kind of break it down. So what's the career prospects like? What's the culture like? Are you satisfied working there as a graduate? What's the salary like? Again, so we can give you guys a nice big picture of what it's like to work in these companies. Whether you're going to enjoy working there. As long as you read these things, you go through this process, it's going to help you find a job that you want. And you're not going to work your first job, leave in 3 months because you hate it there. You're probably going to find a first job that you love, and you're going to build a beautiful career for yourself. And that's what we want. So that's the Prosper website. That's what we do. Like I said, you just head on to unimap.prosper.com. You just put in what you're looking for here. You just put in what you're studying there. Bam, you click search. Everything's done for you after that. Just apply, apply, apply. We make it super easy for you guys. So that is essentially what I have to show for you guys today. That's the website, etc. Before I leave you guys, which I will in a bit, do you have any questions? I'll give you guys maybe like 10 minutes. If you don't have any questions, we can sort of end it here. But yeah, shoot, shoot, guys. Ask anything you want to ask. Any questions about anything? Throw on some background music so there's some, vibe. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, no questions, guys. So I said that's the UniMap Prosple page at the bottom. You can find all the jobs that you want over there. Everything's listed out for you. You just gotta tell me what you want and what you're studying. Easy peasy. But yeah, oh, CV and resume is the same. Yes, your CV and resume is exactly the same. Don't worry about it. CV is just a fancy way of saying resume. Stands for co-curriculum vitae. Means the same thing. Don't worry about it. Anyone asks for your CV, you can just give them your resume, and your resume is your CV. Good question. Any other questions? Give you guys another minute or two if you have any other questions. If not, yeah, we can sort of end it here, I guess, guys. How to get a micro credential? So there are a few different ways to get a micro credential, Iman. You can go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn itself has courses that you can do. A lot of the times, if you make an account and you have a little skill section, you can put what skills you have, and they will offer you like, hi, do you want to do this test to prove that you have this skill? And then that's great, right? Because you do it on LinkedIn, one, it's free, and then two, it shows at the bottom that, oh, okay, yes, so Ayman says he has this skill, and he's done the test to show that he has this skill as well. Um, so that's wonderful. Other than that, you can use something like Coursera or edX. So I'm putting the spelling for those things in the chat. You can check it out over there. These are websites that have courses as well. They have micro credentials. You can do it. You can go to something like edu. Let me just check this website for you guys. There's one more website. Yeah, you can go to something like this called My Mobile University, and they also have courses. Yeah, but all these three websites have micro credentials. They all have courses you can do. edX and Coursera are usually paid though. But like I was saying, they usually have an option where it's called audit the course, and you can click to audit it, and you can do whatever paid course for free. So that's wonderful for you guys. You don't have to pay any money for it, and you get the course. So that's basically the way to get micro credentials. Good question, dude. Another minute. Nah, I'll let you guys go at 3:15. No worries. Hope that helped, Iman. But yeah, any other questions? Literally, you can ask me anything you want to do in terms of when it comes to applying for jobs, resumes, whatever. I've been in your position too. I've been in final year. My position was more interesting, I guess. I was kind of like in final year, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to work as. The only thing I cared about in my final year was taking leave after university and having a good time, which kind of bit me down the road because I was like, oh no, now I need to find a job, and I was pretty panicked. Like I said, apply for as many jobs as you want. That's really the key. Head on to unimap.prosple.com. Just apply, apply, apply. That's the best way to find a job when you're in university. Just shoot your shot to as many um, of these employers as you can, and eventually you'll get one that you want. Go into as many interviews as you can. That's going to help you a lot. Talk to as many employers as you can. Make a LinkedIn profile. Use the tools like UniMap.Prosple, and yeah, give yourself the best shot. And the only way to do that is to put yourself out there. Just go and apply. yeah, so I guess it's 3:15. I think we've covered most bases. If you guys have any other questions, you can find me at Tarindra Wemmel. I'm on LinkedIn. You can shoot me a message over there. I'll put the spelling in the chat box. So shoot me a message on LinkedIn if you have any other questions. Pleasure to give you guys this talk. Have an amazing weekend. It's around the corner. Best of luck with your graduation. Best of luck with your final exams. Best of luck finding a job. I'm sure you guys will do a great job regardless. If you have any questions about Prosple or jobs or resumes, hit me up on LinkedIn. Have a good day, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.